You're tracking over 20 SaaS metrics on your dashboard, and 17 of them are lying to you about your SaaS health. What if I tell you that you only need three SaaS metrics to predict if your startup will actually succeed or fail? Stay with me on this video while I show you how to exactly track these exact three metrics and what these three metrics are. If you're new to my channel, I always read from my tab and I show you exactly how you can actually scale the revenue of your startup and how you can build your startup to $10 million, even $100 million to $1 billion startup. These are insights from top startups all over the world, and I come here sharing them to you weekly. Yes, so let's get started. In this training, I'll be sharing exactly why you need to track just three metrics and you need to dump the rest. If you're just starting out as a founder, if you're just starting out with a startup, a SaaS B2B, then you need to track just these three metrics and ensure that these three metrics are actually performing so that you don't actually lose focus. Focus is something that is very, 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 very important. The first thing I'll be reading from my tab, from what I wrote here, is that your startup is a war zone. In the heat of battle, when the servers are crashing and the customers are screaming, you do not have the cognitive bandwidth to process complex data. You need signal. You need to know if you're winning or dying. When you track 50 metrics, you create a fog of war. Inside your own organization, your team does not know what matters. Your sales lead thinks calls made is the goal. Your marketing lead thinks impression is the goal. Your product lead thinks features shipped is the goal. They are all wrong. They are optimizing local maximums while the ship sinks. By stripping the dashboard down to Trinity metrics, these three metrics now, you are going to clear the fog. You will align the sight of every rifle in your platoon on the same target. Clarity is violence. Use it to cut through the noise and strike where it hurts. When it comes to building a startup, you need clarity, you need focus. And when you, as a founder, as a startup, you're tracking different things, you seem confused to yourself and to even your staff, even your employees. And when they see that you don't have a direction, you don't have where you're heading to, then definitely they will know that, oh, we're just aiming for probably calls, probably sign-ups, probably what that is they get feature shipped, probably we're just shipping features without a direction. That's why this three SaaS metrics is very, very important and why focus is important. Let's look at the story of Apple. Look at Apple in 1997. The company was weeks away from bankruptcy, bleeding cash and suffocating under a product line so complex that even the employees did not know what they were selling. They had a dozen versions of Macintosh, they had Newtons, they had printers, they had data everywhere, and they were dying. Steve Jobs returned from the wilderness. He did not ask for more market research. He did not ask for more spreadsheets. He walked to a whiteboard. He drew a simple grid, two columns, consumer and pro, two rows, desktop and portable. He killed everything else. He slaughtered 70% of the roadmap in a single afternoon because he understood that focus is not about saying yes, it is about saying no with a sledgehammer. He reduced the company's dashboard to four squares and he saved the world. You are not Apple, but the physics are the same. If you have 20 pricing tiers and 15 customer segments, you are recreating the chaos of 1997. You have to kill the complexity. Draw your grid, focus or die. So what this is saying is that focus is necessary, especially at your early stage when you're still trying to scale your startup, still trying to scale your users, your customers, then you must focus. And this is why it's important to focus on just these three metrics. And what are these three metrics? I'll be sharing that. Let's look into the three exact metrics that you must track as a SaaS founder, B2B SaaS founder, a startup founder. These are the major metrics that you must actually track. The first one is the CAC, which is the customer acquisition cost. And I wrote here that most of you treat customer acquisition cost CAC as a marketing metric. It is not. It is a debt clock. If it costs you $1 to buy a customer and you only have $10,000 in the bank, you have 10,000 bullets left. If you miss, you die. Founders complicate this. They talk about blended CAC and organic leads. Stop lying to yourself. You need the raw unvarnished cost of buying revenue. If that number is higher than the immediate cash flow the customer provides, you are bleeding. The growth truth demands that you stare at this number every morning It forces you to be ruthless. It forces you to kill the channels that are kind of working. It forces you to hunt for the vein of gold where the CAC is low and the volume is high. If you hide this number inside a blended average, you're hiding the tumor that will kill you. So when we talk about CAC, the customer acquisition cost, we're talking about the exact amount that it costs you to get your first customer, your second customer, your third customer. If you're not tracking this, then you're failing. I see a lot of founders tracking sign-ups, tracking leads, tracking cost per leads, and that is where they make the most mistakes. You need to track the actual amount it costs you to get your first customer and your next customer. What will it cost you to get 100 customers? And if you don't have the amount to actually get this, then you will actually fail. And if the amount that you're getting after acquisition is actually lower than the amount you're spending to acquire them, then you will also fail. That's why your CAC must actually be lower than the amount they're paying back in the first 30 days, which is the payback period. I've made a video about this. You can just watch it in my channel. So the first metric you must actually track as a founder, which is very, very important, is the CAC, the cost of acquiring a customer. If you can track this, then definitely you will not fail because you know the amount you're spending on getting a customer. This will help you to know your pricing, to help you to actually know the amount you're spending and the amount you're getting back from those customers. It will help you also calculate your LTV and also help you know if you're actually making revenue and making profit or if you're just spending money or wasting money. The second one here is the activation. When we talk about activation, I'll be sharing a story about Uber. So I wrote something here. I say sign-ups are vanity. Activation is sanity. A user who signs up and does nothing is not a user. They are a ghost. They cost you money to host, but they give you nothing in return. You must measure the pulse. Look at Uber in their early days. They did not care about app downloads. A download is meaningless if the user never opens the app. They obsessed over the first ride. They knew through brutal data analysis that if a user took one ride, they were hooked. If a user took zero rides, they churned. So the entire company, every engineer, every marketer, every driver ops manager was focused on that single metric. How do we get them to take the first ride? So talking about the importance of tracking these three metrics, this is what you get exactly by tracking these three metrics. The first one I wrote here is the speed of decision. In aerial combat, there is a concept called the OODA loop, where you observe, you orient, you decide, and you act. The pilot who moves through this loop faster wins. The pilot who hesitates die. Business is aerial combat. When your dashboard is complex, your OODA loop is slow. You spend 3 days analyzing the data, 2 days arguing about the attribution model, and one day making a decision. That is a week lost. In that week, your competitor stole your market share. When you have three metrics, your OODA loop is instantaneous. CAC goes up, you kill the ad. Activation goes down, you fix the onboarding. NRR is flat, you call the top customers. What's happening? Why are you guys not paying? Why are you churning? You decide in minutes. You set the hours, you act in minutes. This speed compounds. If you make 100 correct decisions while your competitor is still building a pivot table, you win by default. Simplicity is speed. Speed is life. So imagine you're tracking just three metrics for your startup. You're tracking the activation, the CAC, and the NRR, and you're able to know when any of these metrics are actually going down, and you are able to decide immediately where the problem is because you know that if CAC is a problem, then maybe we're talking about our acquisition channel. We're talking about how we're getting the users, probably to paid ads and all. But when we talk about activation now, probably we're talking about the onboarding process, what is actually stopping them from activating. And when you come to NRR, you have to call your customers and ask them what's actually wrong. Is it that there's a problem with the product, or then you figure out the issue? When it comes to these three metrics, speed is what they give you. They give you the speed of making decision, the speed of actually figuring out what the issue is. The next importance of tracking these three metrics is the investor psychology, the smell of competence. Investors are sharks. They smell fear, they smell confusion. When you walk into a pitch meeting and show a slide deck with 30 different charts, you think you look sophisticated. You look like an amateur. You look like someone who doesn't know what drives their business. You're throwing away spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. But when you walk in with three numbers, my CAC is $500, my activation is 40%, my NRR is 120%, and you explain exactly how you pull the levers to move those three numbers, the room changes. The VC stop looking at their phone. They realize that they're talking to a mechanic, not a magician. They back mechanics. They invest in operators who know the machine. Simplicity signals mastery. Complexity signals insecurity. So when it comes to investors, when it comes to getting people to invest in your startups, and you show that you know the numbers, you know the metrics that are actually important, and you're able to track those metrics, and you're able to ensure that those metrics are performing well, then they know that you are the right person and you know your onions. The last one, which is the third one, is resource allocation. Starve the losers. You have limited resources, you have limited cash, limited engineering hours, and limited mental energy. You cannot afford to waste a single ounce of it on things that do not move the needle. Your dashboard acts as a razor. When you track these three metrics, you cut away the fat. If it projects, if a project does not lower CAC, increase activation, or boost NRR, why are we doing it? But it's if it's good for brand awareness, you kill it. If it's a cool feature, you kill it. If the competitors are doing it, let them die. You must be ruthless with your resources. You must starve the losers so you can feed the winners. This focus allows you to punch above your weight class. It allows a team of five to out execute a team of 50 because the team of five is a laser and a team of 50 is a flashlight. So when it comes to tracking these three metrics, what it actually does is that it helps you to actually save your resources. You help your engineering team to focus on what's important, your marketing team focus on what's important. Everyone focuses on the metrics that are actually driving results and are moving the startup forward. In this training, in this video, I've shared exactly the three metrics that you need to track as a startup founder, and also why you must track these three metrics. If you're not tracking these three metrics, then you're already failing. You need to track first, you need to track your CAC, you need to track your activation and your NRR. So depending on the stage at which you are, if your CAC is still like not working, then you need to fix your CAC. Then you move to your activation where you start fixing your onboarding and everything that has to do with your activation. Then you move to NRR. If you fix your CAC, then your activation will be the next thing. If those two are working, then you'll be fixing your NRR. That's your revenue. That means you're already making revenue. If your activation is working, then revenue is coming. If your CAC is working, then your activation is working. Then your NRR is also working. I wrote something here to conclude this video. I said, imagine your startup failed. You're writing the postmortem. You're explaining to your family why you lost their money. Will you say, I wish I had tracked more metrics? No. You will say, I wish I had focused. You will regret the time you spent on vanity projects. You will regret the weeks you wasted on partnership that went nowhere. You will regret the complexity that blinded you. Your growth truth dashboard is a time machine. It brings that future regret into the present so you can avoid it. It forces you to do the hard work now. It forces you to look at the ugly numbers now. It's hard, but the pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. Choose the pain of truth. So, as a startup founder, you need to choose what you will focus on right now. And I tell you, the three metrics I just mentioned is exactly what will determine if your startup actually succeeds or not. If you're not tracking these three things, then you're failing. You're already failing. And if you're not succeeding at these three things, then you're already failing. Hi founder, thank you for staying till the end of this video and thanks for watching this video. I share most training weekly, and if you're interested in working with me to have a look at your startup to know exactly where you're stuck at your startup and how you can actually scale your revenue, scale your user, then you can book a call with me via the link in the description and also join our community description link below. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and also please leave a comment. I will definitely reply to all comments and also share this with someone. See you in the next training.